Good evening, friends and family. It is a pleasure and an honor to stand here before you tonight as a graduate of the Loving Your Neighbor program, which, like me, has undergone growth and transformation and is now known as the Change Your Life program. When I first contacted Love in the Name of Christ, or Love Inc., in July of 2019, I was severely depressed. I was lost, unhappy, angry, bitter, and resentful. I had been in recovery from alcohol addiction for 7 years, but I kind of hit a plateau. I was sober, I was active in recovery meetings, I'd completed the 12 steps, and I'd made my amends to the best of my ability. But now what? I still felt miserable inside, despite experiencing some good days here and there. My wounds, my feelings and my emotions, they were left wide open without a Band-Aid. I was no longer covering my sadness, my loneliness, my fears, and my hardships with alcohol. At the information meeting I attended with several other newcomers, I learned that Love Inc. is not a church and it does not replace church. Rather, it is in support of church and connecting people to resources, transforming lives and communities by means of a holistic approach to caring for individuals in all areas of life: spiritual, mental, emotional, relational, physical, and material. I was not in need of any furniture, dishes, or clothes, and my physical needs were pretty well taken care of too. But oh my, how my spiritual, mental, emotional, and my relational needs ran rampant. I was offered a series of transformational classes, beginning with the New Image class, where I learned my worth and my value is in Christ alone, who created and formed me. Psalm 139, 13 and 14 says, "For you formed my inner parts. You knitted me together in my mother's womb. I praise you, for I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Wonderful are your works. My soul knows it very well." After completion of the New Image class, where my eyes were opened to see and my heart was open to receive God's unconditional love, I was enrolled in a Bible study where I learned more about creation, Jesus, and redemptive compassion in the early church. It was during this Bible study that the COVID-19 pandemic struck the world and the nation was put on lockdown in order to stay home. Thanks to the quick and innovative minds of staff and volunteers of Love Inc., our classes resumed online via Zoom meetings, which worked for many people, but I needed and I craved that connection and fellowship of meeting in person. Eventually, the lockdown was lifted in phases, and we were allowed to meet in person as long as we followed social distancing guidelines and wore a mask. My first 3 classes after lockdown were Redemptive Compassion, where I learned about the wagon principle and the 6 core values of redemptive compassion. Rekindle the Fire, where we dove into the Bible and how it was written, and Anxious for Nothing, where we were taught to rely on God. Proverbs 3, 5, and 6 states, "Trust in the Lord with all your heart and do not lean on your own understanding. In all your ways acknowledge him and he will make straight your paths." The next classes that I had were Boundaries, Faith and Finances, New Journey, and the Health and Wellness, where I was challenged again and again and again to rely on God. I learned that boundaries are necessary for ourselves as well as for others, and communication is key to every relationship, no matter how intimate or casual it may be. A common question that came up in every single class for me is, do I trust God? Well, of course I trust God. Sure, I've always believed in God ever since I was a wee little girl going to church and Sunday school faithfully. I was taught there was one God and creator of all, and yet throughout these classes, that question kept coming back. Do I trust God? It was during my last class, Health and Wellness, where that question hit me differently, and I realized, no, I don't trust God. I asked my fellow classmates and my instructors, how can I trust someone that I cannot see, when people that I know and love deeply have let me down? I have been hurt, offended, and abused by people who claim to love me and care about me. How could I have trust in something I can't see? And then a situation came up just before my testimony was due, and I actually texted Bill and Katie, and I said, I can't graduate. I am such a fraud. I am struggling. I'm angry. And I'm not like Job. I am not blameless and upright. I'm unhappy, and I'm grumbling. I had my testimony nearly finished to turn in, and then I felt like I was sucker punched in the gut. You see, my testimony isn't over. It doesn't stop here just because I graduate from the Change Your Life program tonight. My journey is ongoing and will continue until the very day that I die and meet Jesus face to face. Do I trust God? Yes, I'm learning how to trust God. I will face hardships and trials, for it is written in John 16:33, I have said these things to you that in me you may have peace. In the world you will have tribulation, but take heart, I have overcome the world. And James 1:2-4 says, consider it pure joy, my brothers and sisters, whenever you face trials of many kinds, because you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance. Let perseverance finish its work, so that you may be mature and complete, not lacking in anything. My testimony is not about me or anything that I did. It's about what God has done and is doing for me by the transformation of my mind. Romans 12:2 says, do not be conformed to this world, but be transformed by the renewal of your mind. And 2 Thessalonians 3:5, may the Lord direct your hearts into God's love and Christ's perseverance. The last time that I shared my testimony, I said that Love Inc. is my lifeline. That is no longer a true statement. God is my lifeline. Love Inc. Love Inc. is a stepping stone that was so graciously offered to me free of charge. I only needed to bring an open mind and a willingness to grow. All the praise and glory tonight goes to God, my rock and my salvation.